How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Kill your vices and become very wealthy in Bitcoin. I just was looking at, I was just using ChatGPT and looking at what the average drinker spends each year on alcohol, what the average bettor spends on sports books, what the average vapor spends, what the average golfer spends. And there's one other one that I looked up that's eluding me right now. But if you skip out on these vices, someone that partakes in cannabis, if you skip out on these vices, you can buy a lot of Bitcoin. You can actually become very wealthy over time. So let's go through this. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one. Also, if you want to trade crypto, there are links to BTCC, Blofin, BTCC, WEEX, CoinW. You can use all these different platforms underneath the video, and you have special sign-up bonuses and different deals for using those links. Also, there's a link to Patreon underneath the video in case you want some exclusive videos. Now, I'm sitting here on a Sunday, I'm just thinking about Bitcoin, thinking about life, and it struck me, I've seen so many people these days that vape, especially around my age group, 20 to 35 or 40. There's so many people that vape, so many people that drink. I partake in some drinks here and there. There are people that smoke. There are people that sports bet. There are people that, golf being a little bit different, right? Something active, but there are so many of these like vices, different things that people like to spend money on. And I was thinking about just like the bandwidth that people have to invest these days. It's very difficult, right? Let's say the average salary is $70,000. I'd say a lot of people spend more on their vices than they spend on retirement, right? Like if you're someone that, let's say, smokes, drinks, and sports bets, that's $3,000 a year on average for the average person. Like I looked it up. It's weird. Almost all of these, the average is around $1,000. It varies between like maybe $600 and $2,000 depending on which of these you're talking about. And golf can get much more expensive, but like for a casual golfer, ChatGPT said maybe $1,000 to $2,500 a year. But for the average drinker, a moderate smoker, moderate sports bettor, all of them are right in that $1,000 to $2,000 range. It got me thinking, okay, at today's prices, someone could buy, let's say, again, you're looking at a sports bettor that vapes and drinks, or, a golfer that spends a few $1,000s a year, $2,000, $3,000 a year. Again, a little bit different with that one. But let's say, you're someone that spends $2,000, $3,000 on these things. That's 5% of your take-home pay on different vices. If you bought Bitcoin with that, you could buy, 0.03 Bitcoin, which might not sound like a lot. It's less than you could have gotten at the bottom of the market. You could have gotten about 0.2 Bitcoin, which would give you about as much as the average millionaire can ever buy if it was distributed between all millionaires in the world right now. And there are going to be more millionaires over time. So it's going to get harder and harder to buy that amount. But, 0.03 Bitcoin, $3,000. When Bitcoin hits $1 million, that is worth $30,000. You just 10x your money. The number of people that can buy 0.03 Bitcoin, very small at the end of the day, especially when you start looking years down the line. Let's say Bitcoin is $1 million. Okay, $30,000. Most people can't spend that on an investment. And most people, maybe can invest that into a 401k over time, but they're definitely not going out and buying $30,000 worth of Bitcoin. Most people don't have that kind of bandwidth. Now, maybe some upper middle class people have $30,000 in like an emergency savings or something like that for their house, but they can't withdraw that and throw it into what's considered a speculative high vol asset. So you start thinking about it, that could be very powerful. And there are people that think Bitcoin's going to go much past $1 million as well. I've seen some people say you're going to be able to buy a house with 0.01 Bitcoin one day. Why is that? Well, there are 21 million Bitcoin. There are about 2 billion houses estimated, which means, if you convert that, so every house is divided by Bitcoin, that's about 0.01. And that's just if houses are divided by that. Now, that's kind of the thinking that everything's going to be priced in Bitcoin one day. So these kinds of assets like houses continuously go down in value versus Bitcoin. While they might go up in dollar terms, dollars are deflated or inflated, right? Due to inflation over time, they become devalued. But Bitcoin continues to go up in in correspondence to them. So it's interesting to start thinking about things like this. Now, what do you do with this? Well, maybe save yourself a little bit of money. Don't bet on sports this week, or don't skip the next bar night or something like that, and go put a little bit into Bitcoin. You don't have to do it all the time, right? I'm not saying to cut everything out cold turkey, but start looking at things and say, is this really good for me? Should I be investing instead? Or, consider this, maybe there are other things that you can cut back on a little bit, or maybe it's just an interesting video, right? Maybe you don't take any action, but it is interesting to start thinking about where Bitcoin could be and how you could take maybe some actions to cut out bad things out of your life just to go buy more Bitcoin. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Let me know if you have cut anything out to go buy more Bitcoin. One other thing that I looked at, I should Google this as well, or ChatGPT this. Uber Eats. I just found Uber Eats over the last, month, and started using it to spend a little bit more time with family and on work and stuff like that. But there are a lot of people that don't have a job where they can just work whenever they want. So I've seen a lot of people use Uber Eats that don't need it, and everything is more expensive on Uber Eats, like every item. There are delivery fees, there are taxes, there are extra tips that you have to spend. So I'm guessing you probably spend 20-25% more when you use Uber Eats, and there are people that Uber Eat hundreds of dollars every month. So you start looking at that too, just something very unnecessary. That's not even a vice. It's just maybe a little bit of laziness. Again, there are certain times where maybe it makes sense, but it is definitely more expensive than like a local pizza shop that does delivery for free or for like $2 and then you give a $5 tip. Uber Eats is much more expensive. So you start looking at like all of these things add up over time significantly. And sure, there are certain situations where it makes sense, or you're with friends and you just don't want to go, into traffic and wait and miss out on time with friends or family. But for a lot of people, they're just sitting at home doing nothing anyways, watching TV. Let me know your thoughts on all this. Again, let me know down below in the comment section. Just a good reminder to stack over time. This is the boring time. But this is typically a good time to be stacking when things are boring, because inevitably we move up and we don't really get down to these prices maybe ever again, but at least for a long time. We also are hearing word that David Sachs is going to make some big announcements for crypto soon. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much. Check out the links underneath. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.